grant was brought to our attention last spring, close to the end of the year, and as a staff we generated ideas of just needs that we felt like we had in our school. So we thought, what a great way to get them ready for middle school too, by offering electives. But what's great then is we have this amazing STEAM closet where we keep all of our materials that we got from the grant. So the kids write me a list of what they want, I go to the closet and we pull whatever materials the kids have requested. Like this morning we were in there grabbing anything from socks to cups to cotton balls, and it's awesome because we know it's all right there.
My teacher hat, what I've experienced the difference of is when kids come in from STEAM, they're so excited about what they just created that they want to show me and they want me to see what they're working on, but then they also want to bring it into science, or they want to pull it into literacy, or they want to connect it back to math somehow.
It has been absolutely amazing. What they come up with blows us away continuously. They come up with new ways of looking at things that I never would have thought of, because really what they bring to the table, they just open so many doors that I never even have. They take projects so many different ways I never would have even thought of.
Parent perspective, we have seen just our little girl at home this year, every year she wants to not come to school each day for different various reasons, but this year she has started each day with, I'm really excited, it's electives day today, I get to go to STEAM. And just as a parent, to have her feel excited about school in a new way for me as a mom has been huge.
We're teaching students about how to do object-oriented programming, and we are using Spheros to do that work.
We have a playroom, and we are able to use those items in our playroom to learn through play, which is the best way to learn. So we applied for the grant together and asked for lots of different wonderful blocks and different things that we can use for our innovation time.
What we're noticing that is kids are more willing to take risks and to try things. And instead of just the teacher standing up at the front of the classroom and basically being the sage on the stage, we're giving kids the opportunity to take a risk and try something. If it doesn't work, go back and evaluate what you tried and think about what can you do differently to get a different outcome.
Well, what's really neat is that our students have access to the same types of materials that students at other schools have, and at our school we didn't have those items before, and so they have hands-on equipment that they can use. We've used microscopes that we got from the grant and slides, which is really neat, and the kids loved it. And so we're using all the same types of things in Hawaii, which all of our kids have the same experiences.
We applied for the grant because we wanted to build our toolkit, our supplies, to be able to enrich kids in activities in STEM, project-based learning, and just some hands-on design work. So we got a 3D printer. We also got some Spheros, some tools for kids to be able to build. In addition to, we have the digital library, so we have a green screen and some iPads so kids can really get into that broadcasting piece. And then in addition, we also got a grant for visual arts and economics pathway for that academy. And that's going to be a 3D vacuum sealer, as well as some t-shirts and a printer, so kids can really be designing. And And we're still kind of getting to know our supplies and how we can use them, so we're building that toolkit and our skills with our teachers and students. They are so engaged. It's really provided them different pathways to be able to take their learning in a direction that makes sense to them and makes it relevant. So some kids really like performing arts, and they're able to use the green screen to really bring their ideas to life. Some kids like to use the design aspect and build things with the tools or with the Lego wall. And so it allows kids to have flexibility to take their learning and make it relevant and put it into a pathway that makes sense to them. So hopefully that will solidify their learning a little bit more. And they'll get to try on some different jobs like engineer and reporters and designers, so that they can kind of have an idea of different real life jobs that they'll be able to engage in later in life.
First of all, we hope that to really bring the idea of STEM into the classroom, a hands-on learning experience for 5 and 6-year-olds, and being able to bring math into their learning and to engineering into their building, so they can design and create their own playground space. A teammate and I decided to go ahead and apply for the grant because kindergarten really had a need for an outdoor playground space. Our big playground at Hutchinson was being used primarily by the older kids, and we felt like the kindergartners just needed their own playground equipment. So my teammate, Ms. Morkvet, and I researched some different kinds of playground activities that the kindergartners could do, and we ran across a playground system called Imagination Playground, and decided to apply for the grant.
We really wanted to look at opportunities to have that trickle down and start with our younger students in the elementary school, working on some of those base level skills that would connect to the academies. Excited because we teach needs of plants and animals, and so we looked at a way that we could meet that, and so we did an application for a thing called a tower garden. And we have 3 tower gardens. They are actually indoor gardens that grow without the use of basic soil or sunlight. They have built in what we call rock wall, which is teeny little, they're only about this big, the places where we plant the seeds. And so you can plant the seeds in there. You set a timer, you have water in the base of it, and it feeds it from the bottom up, and it trickles down through all of them. We have 22 plants growing at a time, and it has its own built-in light source, and so you put it on timers and they sprout within about 3 days. And then we had full heads of lettuce, and we have chives, and we had beans, green beans, we had cucumbers. So we're on our 2nd round of growing, actually. And so with this, it's a great way for the kids to see that growth cycle, but it also helped us see that you can have an innovation that doesn't cost as much money, and it doesn't take as much time, and you can grow food year round. So our ultimate goal is also to grow food for our families.
So having the 3D printer in my third grade classroom has really opened the doors for a lot of students to expand what we do in math as well as literacy and take it to whatever they would like to design and whatever they're thinking about conceptually. Kids in here have designed everything from lunchboxes to small animals to a xylophone, as well as flowers, houses, airplanes. They even went as far as having a classroom jack-o'-lantern contest where they each designed and carved a jack-o'-lantern using the 3D printer. Seeing kids overall and their engagement has greatly increased, and what they have been allowed to do is take anything that they've learned in the classroom and apply it to their design and communication about the 3D printer and their designs.
They came to us and said there was an innovation grant where there was thousands of dollars that we could start programs that would help support Green Mountains Academy. Essentially what the grant did was it allowed us to buy these 8 Lego Mindstorms EV3 robots, and it also got us some software that we have installed on some computers and iPads. That allows the students to, they have several different problems that they have to solve with robots. And so these robots allow kids to actually build and program robots to solve problems. And then in class, we also then research real robots that do similar things to what the kids are designing in class.
I got a grant for computer science. Mr. Sturkey and I applied to the Green Mountain Area Pathway Grants, Innovation Grant, and for computer science. So the grant we received also aligns with the high school STEM pathway, and so we're working on our computer science program so that it can feed right into Green Mountain High School's STEM computer science program.
So the grant that I applied for was for microbits, and microbits are basically these little programmable chips. I initially got the idea for the microbits from Green Mountain High School because they lent us a big tub of them that they weren't using anymore, and my students loved it so much after just messing around with a week that I decided to give the grant a try. And after just a couple days of playing with them, they loved it. They were loving seeing their code go from a website to an actual physical object. So to be able to see that change or see that process of going from the programming to an actual object, and whether it was something simple like LED lights or an actual game where they're pressing buttons or the robots, I could definitely see the light in my students' eyes light up. Then from there, 2x2 square could really change my classroom. More than just teaching code, they were actually able to see that code come to life, and that really innovated my room, really took it from just a simple programming class to an extraordinary class. And then the other part of it is because these came from Green Mountain, I knew that what we were doing in my class would perfectly align with what they are doing at the high school level. So being able to introduce it in 7th and 8th grade prepares them for what they're doing at the high school level.
So we actually decided to apply for the grant in the Green Mountain Innovation Grant.
So the reason we wanted to get the grant was because we thought it was really important for our community to be educated about recycling. Also, the school has such a wealth of things that we can recycle. We have a dumpster that wasn't used to the fullest capacity. Educating the staff and the students, we now use it to the full capacity. And also just for our community, so we can educate it, so you guys can actually go home and actually spread the word about recycling.
The grant was actually a huge help for us starting off the Dunston chapter of TSA, so the Technology Student Association. There's 4 of us now, actually. So myself, Mr. Kenny, Mr. Starkey, and Ms. Goldart. And so the 4 of us have an after-school club that we sponsor. And so the grant money, for me specifically, we used some of the money for some of the parts for something like this, which is called a Sea Perch. Really try to incorporate a lot of leadership, problem solving, team building, and that sort of thing in our clubs. It was mostly just to kind of get us off and going.